You can lift heavy at pretty much any age. Hey guys and gals, today I thought I would chat with you guys a little bit about this. This is one of those things where, I always see people say silly stuff like, oh, after 40, you can't lift heavy. By the way, I'm 47. You guys see what I'm doing in these clips. I'm 47 years old. Granted, I have a long history of training, but I've also had downtime. I had 3 years where I couldn't lift at one point, spent a year in bed sick, so I did rebuild. So I haven't maintained this, obviously, all the way through. Although, obviously, I have maintained it, for a very, very long time since then. But people say this stuff and they use it as an excuse. And I'm like, look, this whole idea that, because your joints and other stuff, heavy training and training correctly will build your joints. It will build your tendons, right? And building muscle will stabilize these things. And when I say heavy, I don't mean swinging around, ego lifting. I will make that point. Yes, if you are an older lifter, you shouldn't be ego lifting. You should be using good form on stuff. You should be getting good stretches, right? You shouldn't be doing a lot of cheat stuff. I don't even think the younger guys should be doing that, but they can get away with it. That is what you can't get away with when you get older. But to say that you can't max out, that you can't deadlift 600 pounds or squat 500 or bench over 300 just because you're over 40 or you're 50 years old or something else is absolutely not true. You may not be able to build enough muscle to lift those weights, but it's the muscle that may be the limitation, not your body, your joints, your things like that. But again, I will be clear, you shouldn't be ego lifting. And I think that's the problem. You'll see a lot of guys, well, I got hurt doing this. I'm like, you got hurt ego lifting. Look what I'm doing in this video. Do you see me flopping around, doing cheat reps, swinging, bouncing weights? No, everything's controlled. And yes, it's all fairly heavy, right? But notice the difference on all this heavy work. Again, this is how you should train heavy as you start to get older. But the age thing is ridiculous because I have seen power lifters in their 70s. I mean, I was at a powerlifting meet a couple of years ago. It was a Texas State Championship. And I talked to a couple who were there. This guy was 75 and his wife was 74. And they were competing in powerlifting. Now, granted, he wasn't lifting 500 or 600 pounds, but he was still deadlifting over 300. Right? 75 years old. You guys have seen me deadlift 635 in my late 40s before. Clean, pretty. I've known coaches who have grandmas doing 1 rep maxes. And I think we need to put that in context. He has grandmas doing 1 rep maxes and then like maxing on all their big lifts once a month just to test and see where they are. I've known a coach who does that, running a very successful gym and business and coaching business. And guess what? Because he's supervising it, they're not getting hurt. Right? There's nothing inherently dangerous about lifting heavy. And again, heavy being relative to your ability. Right? Same thing even with max lift. Max lifts are not particularly dangerous in the grand scheme of things. If you use good form, you use proper loading, okay, you're not going to get hurt. The odds of it are very, very, very small. You are more likely to get hurt on your way to the gym in a car accident than you are with correctly performed heavy lifting. But that is the thing. It's not the heavy lifting you need to be worried about with age. It's ego lifting you need to be worried about. It's poor fatigue management. Overuse injuries, right? Because let's be honest here, what really beats you up as you get older? Something I've observed with every year the longer I train. As we get older, we can't tolerate the really high volumes the same way. We just can't. I notice the fatigue becomes incredible. The risk of overuse becomes incredible. I had my first shoulder issues when I decided to do this experiment where I was going to do 100 chin-ups every single day or 100 pull-ups every day. right? That's when my shoulder issues first started that I've had to rehab, right? It's overused that gets us. But when you start limiting volume and you just focus on heavy work, quality sets, and again, I still do some high rep stuff in here, mind you. Granted, you're seeing a lot of, 6 to 10 rep stuff here in this video. But I still do a little bit of stuff higher, right? I think 12s and 13s, things like that are still good. Still plenty of room for that stuff. But it's excessive amounts of sets, particularly excessive amount of reps. That seems to be what really truly fatigues us and creates more problems as you start to get older. The heavy work doesn't. Again, context being, what does your heavy lifting look like? And I'm not telling you to try to max out all the time, because that will beat you up also. But I mean heavy 5, 6, 8, 10 rep sets with good form. We do great on those in middle age. And again, I see plenty of older lifters who handle powerlifting and maxing just fine. So the thing that we need to be looking at is excessive volume. We need to be looking at our form. We're looking at our form. Look at some of the guys you see who are really in the game still past 50, who are still jacked, who are still strong. Notice they all use really good form on everything. And good form doesn't mean what some people think good form means trying to do 5-second negatives and things. No. That's not good form. That's just it being excessively slow. And that's not good for muscle growth, by the way. The research has never been kind to that. Good form just means, do you have control? Are you taking muscles into deep stretches? Are you avoiding using significant amounts of cheating or body English or swinging to do reps? Right? Doesn't mean everything is super slow, as long as it's controlled. Good control. Good technique. Working the muscles that you're trying to work, right? Like me bench pressing, making sure my chest is doing most of the work on my bench. Obviously, triceps and delts are still going to get worked. But I'm not using bouncing, not lifting my butt off the bench, using a proper touch point, knowing where to touch the bar, keeping the wrist stacked. That's what we mean by good form. Good, clean technique with good biomechanics. Right? That is what we need to do. We do not need to be afraid of lifting heavy. Because again, heavy doesn't equate, cheating and ego lifting. Right? It's not the same thing, because people cheat and ego lift with lightweights too. So avoid that. You'll be fine. Limit your volume. Don't get overuse injuries. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.